Hey everybody, it's Adam from Encounter Wargaming, and today we are going to do an unboxing and rules review of the new box, Shadowspear. Super stoked, let's check it out. So of course this new box set has just released today, and I did what probably a lot of people are doing. I went and got two. Well, one's for Jason, whom you know and love, and one's for me. And what we're going to do is we're going to trade Chaos for Imperium, because as you guys know, Big Mac J is all about the Chaos life. And I got my Primaris Marines on lockdown, and so there's some juicy new models in here. Hopefully some juicy new rules. I've started to see some of the leaks and rumors. And I'm excited, so I can't wait to turn the camera down on the table, open this up, show you the sweet new models, and show you the rules and stuff too. So let's dive in and get a real look at Shadowspear. So there is the box. First off, man, that artwork is super cool with those new Chaos Duders, the Chosen, the Obliterators in the back, that new whatever he's called, sorcerer, the new librarian. It's just all there. So all right, I got my hobby knife. Let's give a cut, rip this plastic off. Oh, it's so satisfying, just so satisfying. Here we go, and looks like it's a pop the top style. So we've popped the top, little bubble wrap, why not? Ooh, bases, gotta have them. And then just a whole bunch of sprues. Okay, so let's put these all off to the side for a minute. Sweet piece of artwork to add to the background of all of our intro videos here in the studio. Very cool, very cool. All right, oh, there's some flank stands, some of the larger bases, beauties. Ooh, decal sheet, some pretty basic, of course, Ultramarines chapter markings. It's nice. Another base. Sample chapter of the Black Legion book. That's pretty fun. Aaron Dembski Bowden. I don't think I've read anything by him, but hey, now you can read a sample chapter. Why not? And then a bundle of books. Let's see. Let's get that hobby knife out and see what these books actually are. All right, so why don't we just move that? We got some pretty legit looking stuff. So it looks like probably the Shadowspear specific campaign booklet with some fluff on Perlitz going on. And then two codexes. We got the Codex Adeptus Astartes Vanguard Space Marines, and then the Codex Heretic Astartes Demonkin. Interesting name choice for that. We got a 8-pager, core rules, beautiful, and then the instructions on how to build. Fantastic. So tell you what we'll do. Let's cut, look at the models, dive into the books and rules right after, and yeah, we'll start with that. All right, so first I'm going to show you all of the Space Marine stuff. Now you get 5 sprues, 1, 2, 3, and 2 individual character sprues right there. And so what we'll do is we'll just look at them one at a time. All 3 units are kind of scattered and mixed throughout all 3 of these big sprues. So I'll move the characters off to the side, and I'll move the 2 smaller sprues off to the side, and then we'll focus on the big main sprue for now. So just get a nice tight zoom in there. All right, so what is included for the Space Marines? You get a Captain in Phobos armor, Librarian in Phobos armor, Lieutenant in Phobos armor, 3 suppressors, 3 eliminators, and 10 infiltrators. Now, the infiltrators seem to me like to be the troop unit of the box. The suppressors are the kind of flying autocannon dudes, and the eliminators are the Phobos armor sniper Space Marines. And so, like I said, they're all scattered throughout all these sprues. And so we'll just kind of take a look at the sprue. Now, what I think everyone will be interested to know is, are these kind of posable, or are they like the Dark Imperium? And they're definitely the easy fit like the Dark Imperium, which has certain benefits, quick, easy to build, and but certain drawbacks as there's less customizability. But the poses can be very unique in what you get, and so that's what's I think definitely we can all agree that some of the stuff they can do when they make them mono build is just incredible. So let's take a look. I love the new bolters. I mean, the straps, the extra scopes, what they do like to make these guys looking very like just like recon marines and stuff. They want them to kind of look like the forward operators infiltrating in there. And they definitely have that look to them. So they got the Reaver class armor, the Phobos armor. So the light looking shoulder pads with like, you know, chunks missing out of the legs and all that kind of stuff. Very, very cool. So lots of little bits hanging off. So lots of pouches. Very neat. Lots of pouches, like little, I don't even know what that is, like little control panel-y thing. Very cool looking bolters, combat knives, whatever that is hanging down off his leg. Probably extra clips of ammo, maybe for one of the eliminators. Dude stepping up on a, I don't know, brick, piece of wrought iron or something. Very cool. The detail is just amazing. Love this thing. Kind of binocular set right there. Look at this autocannon. I don't even know if it's called an autocannon or not. We'll get to the rules in a minute. But that is just super, super cool. Nice kneeling set of legs there. Oh, let's check out this open helmet head. Very regal. Actually, it's more like youthful. Very cool rebreather on him though. Neat, neat. Awesome. These cool cloaks for the dudes. Or is that for, might be for the captain actually, a captain or a lieutenant maybe? We'll see. Very nice. Look at that, the cloak coming over the shoulder. Very cool. I love the like antennas and stuff sticking out of the backpacks. The details are just, the extra details that go into this are phenomenal. It's gonna be fun to paint too. A lot of cool stuff to get your brush into. And now let's move on. So now we have two sprues that are identical sprues. And so probably some of your repeat models are on here. Yeah, so let's just go through one of them because you have two of them that are exactly the same. And so looks like you got more of the eliminator stuff, some more of the suppressors, the big autocannons. Some of these helmeted heads. Take a close up at those. Very cool. Pistol arm. Ooh, look at this one. Look at this head. Those goggles on that dude are crazy looking. He looks almost like Mad Scientist, but I guess that's what those Spec Op dudes look like when they have all their night vision goggles on. Look at that one, hooded. Oh, super cool. I didn't notice that when I was just looking at the pictures online. That is super cool. I like it. Take a look at the front of these bodies here. Kneeling with the cloaks coming over. You can see the emblem kind of holding on that cloak. Super nice. And there it is. All right. So there's that sprue. Now we have the two characters, so let's just put them both out here. We have, it looks to be the full captain sprue. Awesome, look at this head. That is what's up right there. That dude is mad. And of course he's sporting the Phobos armor as well. And he actually has the eagle on him. I noticed, I don't think any of the other guys actually have the Imperial Eagle, but the captain does. So look at that, servo skull, little computer-y thing. Super cool. Look what he's standing up on. I don't even know what that is. Oh, just piece of building. So the servo skull's floating around on, attached to his knee there. See, and that's the thing with the mono pose. where they build them one way. Like you can do some of this stuff, whereas some of the multi-part that are intended to be customizable, it's harder to build that stuff in. The like suppressor bolt gun looks super neat. Oh, very cool. All right, so there's the captain. Now this librarian model is probably the best librarian model that GW has ever made. Man, this dude is out to make some enemies. Like he's looking to murder. And I just love the arm coming up, like with the 2 fingers touching his forehead. So he's got here, there's that arm right there. He's got the 2 fingers out. He's definitely doing some mind tricks. Look at that head. Oh, he's angry. Right behind that rebreather, you know there's a mean old scowl there. One of his books. And the cloak is just super dynamic. Really sells the action pose they really got him in. Very nice foresword. Detail is just so clean and crisp, as is per usual with these new plastics. Very neat. Cool. So there's the captain and librarian. Let's move on and talk about the chaos models. Let's have a look. And here we have the chaos sprues. And so this is, I mean, it's about the same amount of plastic, probably, split between 3 sprues. One with what looks to be mostly infantry, another with what looks to be mostly the obliterators and the venom crawler, and then one for the new Master of Possession. And so let's start off with the troop sprue. That's what always fascinates me the most. Is I'm all about having good looking troops in your army. And so let's start there and take a look. Now we have a total of 10 Chaos Space Marine, 2 Greater Possessed, 2 Obliterators, a Venom Crawler, and a Master of Possession total in the box. And so mostly you're going to have these are probably your 2 Greater Possessed right here, or maybe that's one of them. And your other one is probably, he might be a unit champion. Might be somewhere here. I don't know. Huh. Oh yeah, it's definitely the 2 of them right there. These 2 guys. So the 2 Greater Possessed and the 10 Chaos Space Marines. And man, I am so impressed. I've never done a Chaos Army for, or really a bad guy army for 40K. And this stuff is tempting me to do it. It's in scale. It's sharp. It's crisp. The models are up to date. They don't look like they're from the 80s still. And it's just, man, it's on point. So let's take a closer look. All right. Let's just start at one end of the sprue. Oh, it looks like we found ourselves a plasma gun up here in the top left. Really cool skull rib cage style armor here. What is that for? Super neat. Let's turn this the other way. Look at that backpack right there. The skull and the spinal cord coming out there. Man, this dude is mean right here. Is he like a unit champion or no? He's maybe part of one of the big possessed dudes. Greater Possessed. Oh, so nasty. I mean, even just the legs, like these teeth busting out of the armor. Very cool. A simple like drum bearer bolters with chains coming around. It's like look to be an autocannon, dude. Drum barrel, super neat. Plasma pistols on point. I mean, just the trim, just all the new style on the gold trim is just, it's really getting me going. Super cool. Love it. These skull details on the knee pads are a lot more, they just blend in better. They used to just kind of, I don't know, just like meld in with it, but they're a lot more defined, and it looks like it should be the way that it is, rather than just being kind of like a, let's stick a skull on a knee pad. So there you go. Oh, look at this front armor panel right here. The 4 layers coming down the front and the chainmail. That's just awesome. That's how it should be. All right, let's get a closer look up at this dude with the claw. Dang. That's what's up. 2 different style lobster claws right here. Nasty. Nasty. All right. Even this like power fist bitty right here. These like demon fingers coming out. Oh, super neat. I hope that's power fist. That would look super cool. Like this crazy chain coming, or chain axe. Dang, that knife right there. Very much in the style of the Space Marines they put out with. Oh man, I forget the old starter set for 5th or 6th edition. Super nice. Everyone was like raving about those ones. Yeah, I mean, these are that plus. All right, so let's take a look at the next large sprue. So I was very interested to see exactly how modular this Venom Crawler might be. And turns out it looks fairly modular. So it's got, let's just jump in on this sprue. All the legs are separate, which is very nice. Very handy. The big bulbous kind of butt end of the spider is in 2 halves, 2 open halves on either side of the sprue. So kind of check that out. Big tongues coming out. You got half his face right here. Look at this big tongue coming out of the Chaos Star. And then cool on the other side. Yeah, big teethy maw. And all the tentacles and stuff. I don't know, are those for the obliterators? It's probably on the Venom Crawler. I don't know. Chaos is just chaos. It's just all over the place. Oh, I like these spikes, the stylus spikes, kind of better than those, but those are vicious looking. Then we got some of the obliterator parts, kind of the power fist, the kind of the front head. Kind of matches the style of the not Mauler Fiend, Hellbrute, kind of the plastic monopose Hellbrute that they put out, with the kind of teeth, and the head is kind of inside the mouth kind of thing. Oh, sick. Look at this. It's like leg combined into body with like, I guess what might be part of his spine with a heavy bolter sticking out. Super awesome. Some kind of like minigun type thing. Same thing, leg coming up in the body, the spinal cord's wrapping around, and some kind of weird gun. Storm bolters or combi bolters sticking out of that hand there. Heavy flamer coming out of the bottom of this one. Awesome. And I do like that they made the move to keep the back of the power fist kind of blank, especially the one here. I do like the look of that. Where's the other one? Oh, look at this. Just one giant piece of terrain for one of the bases. Looks super dope. Same thing over here. Another, like a piece of terrain with the spike like in it. Awesome. Can't do that with the multi-pose dudes. All right. So there it is. That's the Venom Crawler and what looks to me to be all the parts for your 2 obliterators. So you can easily trade that sprue with somebody if you want it. And lastly, we've seen him, the Master of Possession. All right. Now, if I was to paint this dude up, I would probably do a head swap. I just don't like the horns on the head there. But if you do a quick head swap, this dude is super dope. All right. Look at these flaming skulls coming out of the backpack. One just sitting in his hand. Awesome. The huge, it's like wooden staff mixed in with the like technology. This cloak is super cool. It really goes in there and comes out the back. Very dynamic. This fur, man, that's like better than the Forge World fur they put out for those Space Wolves the other day. The banana fur. So good, man. And then, oh, look at that head. That skull head is super cool. So there's the Master of Possession. Very well done. All right, so last thing I think we'll do, or at least the next thing we'll do, is go through the rules. So first things first, we have the Shadowspear campaign booklet, and this campaign booklet is exactly how I would want any campaign booklet laid out. So first off, you just have well, obviously some cool artwork, but also the update for the storyline for what's going on in the Vigilus campaign. Kind of the idea here with the introduction was that Marnius Calgar had sent out what are they called? Recon forces, kind of the Vanguard forces, to rally any splintered Imperium forces. And so these Vanguard Space Marines are out there trying to rally the troops, get folks together, and also take down whatever might be holding them bunkered down in wherever they are stuck in. So these guys come in, get them out, and that's the idea. So here we go. Of course, they run into horribly warped, transmuted Black Legion monstrosities, which is why we're seeing some new things, right? Like the Greater Possessed and the Venom Crawlers and such. So more fluff. What's going on in the Vigilus region? Very, very cool. And then we get to the actual campaign, and so they literally just give you a three-tiered campaign system. And so you start off with your Vanguard kind of game, right, where you enter in behind enemy lines, and then if the Space Marines win, then you play the next mission in line. If the Chaos wins, you play this mission. So they give you 6 missions total, so you could replay this a few times and have a different outcome each time, which is really awesome. And yeah, and they just give you little bonuses and buffs based on who wins and stuff too. So for example, if the Space Marines won this one, then he gets 3 extra CPs to spend for that game. If they win again, then the Chaos Marine player must increase the CP cost of every stratagem they use by 1 during this mission. So if you keep winning, you get advantages, which is really cool for a campaign, and would actually, just kind of reinforce that the tide of battle is turning in favor of one side or the other, which is really neat. All right, so then you have the 6 missions laid out. Of course, you have a whole bunch. These are narrative missions, so you have a whole bunch of like new stratagems for each one, which is really cool. And here you go, the 6 missions laid out for you in succession. And this is super cool. Like, this is going to give us a lot of influence, stuff to work with. Inspiration is what I meant, over the course of running narrative campaigns for our club and stuff. And so very, very neat. We hope to see some of this stuff just kind of influencing what folks are doing in their narrative campaigns. And so there you go. Awesome. Beautiful. So that's the campaign booklet right there for Shadowspear. Let's move on to the 2 separate new individual codexes. Next up, we have the Vanguard Space Marine Codex, and there is some cool stuff in here, guys. I'm very impressed with this. It's a tiny little booklet, just a little guy. It's just got new rules for the stuff in the box, but it will definitely improve what's going on with your Space Marines. So let's open this guy up. It's gonna be quick but dirty. Some cool artwork to get you going. Some of the storyline, how it ties in. Squad markings, chapter markings, of course, gallery of studio models. It's kind of how to read a data sheet for anybody who's new, so you can understand the units in the box. This right here, this page is very important. It updates all of the chapters. So it tells you about all the chapter stuff and how it works, but it also updates all the old codexes, like the Dark Angels, the Space Wolves, and the Blood Angels stuff. Blood Angels? No, just Dark Angels, Space Wolves, the ones that are non-codex compliant, and so they have characters that have different keywords. So instead of like captain, they're called master, and it says to assume that a captain in Phobos armor has the master keyword instead of the captain keyword. So you just go ahead and replace all those, and it's just telling you so that you know, and so that those chapters can also use the stuff in this box, which is really handy. Great to have it clarified in the rules, very thoughtful. And this is really important here, these designer notes. So when the Reavers came out, they didn't have the Phobos keyword, but some of these characters, they do things for Phobos specific units, like the psychic powers, I think maybe some of the warlord traits and stuff. So it's very important to know that you add the Phobos keyword to any of your Reaver squads that you have. So there you go. So that helps get your Reaver squads up to date as well. All right, so now we get into the rules. So here's the 3 characters, and they are a little bit different than what you're used to, such as like a normal captain in the Mark 10 power armor. let's say. So here we go. So stat line is what you're used to, the same stats at the top. The weapon loadout's a little bit different. So he's got a master crafted instigator bolt carbine. It's heavy 1. That's AP -2, 2 damage, which is really cool. And you can target a character even if it's not the closest with that. So that's really neat. And then let's go down to his rules. So reroll 1s, as you would expect a captain to have. He has a camo cloak, which adds 2 to saving throw rolls if he's in cover. Concealed positions, so you can, during the deployment, set him up in forward operating positions on the battlefield as long as he's more than 9 inches away from the enemy. And enemy deployment zone. So just like the scouts, same rule as the scouts had. He also has an Omni Scrambler. So this is something new to some of the troop units and to some of these Phobos Vanguard style Space Marines here. And this says enemy units that are set up on the battlefield as reinforcements cannot be set up within 12 of this model. So that's really cool. So now units that are coming down out of the sky can no longer charge you the turn that they come down, because they have to be more than 12. And we know you can't declare charges unless you are within 12 inches. So that is very, very handy. All right, so now we have the Librarian in Phobos armor. And so it is the same Librarian that we know and love, but he has to take psychic powers from the Obscuration discipline, and he has a camo cloak to boot. So there you go. Basically the same Librarian with those 2 differences, which, you know, those are pretty big differences. So here also is the Lieutenant. The Lieutenant comes with a grab shoot. Okay, he has the same reroll 1s to wound as the other one, but he's also a knife fighter, so his combat fighting gets a little bit better. On 6s to hit, he gets 2 hits instead of 1. And he also has a 2 damage, no AP, ignores cover bolt carbine that's rapid fire. So that's pretty cool. So there you go. Lieutenant dropping in out of the sky. That is one of the few ways to get a Primaris character up the battlefield. All right, now let's get to the meat and potatoes of this army. So the infiltrator squads, these are the basic troops that come in the box, okay? And they're super neat. So they have the exact same stats as, let's say, a Reaver squad or a Intercessor squad, okay? Except the weapons will be different. They have the Marksman bolt carbines. Now these things are crazy. So the rapid fire 1, they have no AP like the Intercessor bolt carbines or whatever, or bolt rifles. But on a 6 to hit, you automatically hit and wound. So that's crazy. So and modifiers don't count for that 6. So you can always get this thing off. So if you roll a 6 to hit, you auto hit and you auto wound. That is really powerful, especially against, let's say, high toughness vehicles or knights or something. So there you go. Interesting little ability there. Definitely gonna think about taking 20 of these dudes in my armies from now on. All right, so they have concealed positions, so you can set them up further up on the battlefield. They all have Omni Scramblers, and they can combat squad, as you would imagine. And now this is a cool new rule right here: smoke grenades. And so smoke grenades allow you to, you can not shoot, and every model in the unit throws their smoke grenade, and then that unit gets -1 to hit from any ranged attacks against that target. So that's really powerful. -1 to hit is very, very powerful. All right, and you also get, if you have 10 models in this unit, then you can upgrade one of them to be this Helix Adept, and he's kind of like a mini apothecary. So he can heal 1 wound on the unit, or on a 5+, he can bring back a slain model to life. I wish they made those things a little bit easier to get, but you know, that's how if the regular apothecary was on a 3 and this guy was on a 4, they might be a lot more worth taking. But as it stands on a 5-up, who knows? If he's not too many points, maybe we'll take him, right? All right, so that's the basic troops. These guys definitely worth thinking about in any competitive Space Marine army. You are probably going to have these guys on the battlefield from now on, 1000%. Okay, so suppressor squads. So these are the flying guys. So they move 12, a little bit faster than the Inceptors with the heavy bolter pistols. which is really great. So 12 inches. They don't have the toughness 5, however, that those guys do. If you notice, their armor is a little bit lighter. It's not the full-on Gravis armor, okay? Everything else is the same. Now, here's their weapon, okay? So they have an accelerator autocannon, 48 inches, heavy 2, strength 7, AP -2, 2 damage. So it's got the extra AP that a normal autocannon doesn't have. That's probably the accelerator part of it, but it's only 2 damage. So not like a Predator autocannon that has 3, or the armature, whatever, the shooting armatures, the Helverins, so that have 3 damage. So they got the extra AP, but they lose 1 damage as a result. Now, the special rules they have are really cool. Number 1, they have grab shoots, so they can drop down from the sky, and they also have smoke launchers on the unit sergeant. So that's the same rule as the smoke grenades over here, but it's just on the sergeant. And then lastly, if you destroy a model in an enemy unit, it cannot overwatch, which is really cool. So unfortunately, that doesn't work against things like battle suits for Tau, because there's only 1 model in the unit, like the big ones. But fortunately, it does work if you, say, kill, I don't know, 1 stealth suit in a unit, or like 1 fire warrior in a unit of 10. Fabulous. No longer can those things overwatch. So you can split fire with this whole squad, tap a bunch of Tau units, hopefully kill 1 in each, and boom, Bob's your uncle. No more overwatch for that Tau battle line, which is really cool. All right, so now the Eliminator Squad. This is the replacement for Scout Snipers by a long shot. So their Primaris stat line, all that's the same, but their sniper rifle has 3 modes of firing, which is really fantastic. So we have an Executioner round. Now this is your normal, your normal shot, like your normal sniper rifle, except it's much more powerful. It's -2 AP and D3 damage, which is just bananas. Also, on a roll of 6+ to wound is a normal sniper rifle wound, so they do a mortal wound in addition. Now, these only come in little units of 3. You can't have these in units of 5 or so on. But having these different modes of fire really helps with the smaller numbers. So here we go. They also have a Mortis round. It's also a heavy 1. It's only -1 AP, but you can add +2 to your hit rolls, and you don't need to have line of sight. That is really cool. And they also ignore cover, which is great. Now, the Hyper Frag round is strength 4, no AP, no damage, but it's heavy D3. So you could potentially pump out 9 shots from 3 guys. That's really cool. Great for taking down hordes, even though it's probably not the mode of fire you're buying these guys for. All right, and lastly, they do have concealed positions, much like Scouts do, and camo cloaks built in. Cool, that's the Eliminator Squad. Now, they give you the chapter tax updates for all the stuff here. They do let you know here that that the chapter taxes work for infantry, bikes, cavalry, and dreadnoughts. But servitors do not get the chapter tactics. So I wonder what cavalry there are that would get that. I'm not sure, but maybe that updates the chapter tactics rules here. All right, all the normal stuff. These are all the same chapter tactics, I do believe. And now this is where the real fun starts. So we have the new psychic powers, okay? These are really cool. Both the psychic powers and the warlord traits are just top notch. They're beneficial no matter which way you look at it, and almost all of these are worth taking in some regard, depending on what your goal is on the battlefield. So let's just go through all of these and talk about them a little bit. So here's 6 new psychic powers. They have to be, the only guy who can take this is the new Phobos pattern armor librarian. And so let's read through. So they all charge on a 6. Okay, now we have number 1, the shrouding. You choose a friendly Phobos unit with an 18, and an enemy unit can only target them if they are the closest visible target. So that is really, really, really awesome if you're going for a mass infantry style army. So Scryer's Gaze. This the name is a reboot from 7th edition. Scryer's Gaze used to be a psychic power there, but now this one is definitely worth thinking about. So you target a friendly Phobos unit within 18 inches, and you can reroll failed to hit rolls with ranged weapons. Now that is no messing around. It also negates cover. That is a psychic power worth taking right there. All right, so I guess like if you don't want to do Chapter Master or you don't have Gilliman, like it's so powerful. So there you go. All right, so Temporal Corridor. Select a friendly Phobos unit within 3 of the Psyker, and it can immediately move as if it were the movement phase. It can't fall back, and it must advance. So that's the kicker with that. So it's like, oh, we almost got warp time, but we just didn't quite get warp time. So that's unfortunate, but you know, it's still handy for getting around, grabbing objectives, and moving a little bit faster, which is great. Cool. Hallucination. So you target an enemy unit with an 18, and they are -1 leadership, and you roll 2d6. If you get over their leadership, then you subtract 1 to hit rolls. So that's pretty cool. So you would probably subtract 1 from their leadership, and then in addition, so it was probably a -1. You're doing that test to them on -1, which is really cool. I think you might need a clarification there, but either way, very powerful. Any way that you can modify someone's to hit roll, definitely worth having in the game. All right, Tenebrous Curse. So you can't target a unit that has fly, but any other enemy unit you can target. They suffer a mortal wound, and until the start of your next psychic phase, they're half move, and half advance and half charge. That is amazing. So good. So that speedy combat unit that's coming at you, man, just shut them down right there. They have to be within 18 inches of your Psyker, but man, they're moving at a snail's pace, which is great. Especially when like charging gets you so much extra distance. Cutting that 2d6 in half is very powerful. Definitely worth thinking about on there. And lastly, Mind Raid. So you choose an enemy model within 18 inches that your Psyker can see. They take a mortal wound, and if your army's Battleforged and you choose a character, you roll 3d6, and if you get higher than their leadership, you get a command point back. Very, very cool if you're not Ultramarines and you don't have command point regeneration. Now, unfortunately, Space Marine stratagems are still fairly weak at the moment, so not as powerful, because generally you can easily get a battalion, and then if you're Ultramarines, you know, you have Gilliman, so that's another +3. So you're rocking 11, and you're probably only using half, or if you're using all of them, you're probably using them just because. And so you don't really need the command point regen, but it's still handy. And maybe if we get some decent stratagems in the future, then that'll be a lot more helpful. But there you go. Definitely good to know that that is around. All right, so now let's do some Warlord traits. Shoot and Fade. This one's all right. So you after you take a shooting attack, except Overwatch doesn't count, you can then move as if it were the movement phase. If you do that, you have to advance. So they're trying to shut down this like really speedy moving and charging business. But you know, if you do want to stay out of line of sight or move up, shoot your crazy relic bolt gun, and then withdraw, you can totally do stuff like that. All right, so Principles of Deceit. The start of the first battle round, this is a redeploy. So you pick 3 friendly chapter infantry units that are on the battlefield and redeploy them. So there you go. Master of the Vanguard. It's plus. Now this is really cool. So +1 to move of friendly chapter units within 6, so it doesn't limit it to just Phobos. Good thing to note. In addition, it's +1 to advance and charge rolls while they're within 6 inches of this warlord. So Blood Angel, Thunderhammer dropping captains, watch out. Now they're charging in on 8s, or even just regular Thunderhammer captains coming in on 8s now. -1 to hit rolls against your warlord, which is very cool. That does not limit it to just shooting. That is both combat and shooting, so that's really amazing. The Stealth Adept. Target priority. Instead of shooting with your warlord in your shooting phase, you can select a chapter unit within 3 inches and an enemy unit that's visible, and you get +1 to hit against it. So I'm highly interested in making a warlord who just camps around my what's it called? My big bang bang tanks, my Primaris tanks. Oh my gosh, the grav tanks. The grav tank transports, and just make them hit on 2s. That is very appealing to me. I don't know who. I guess I do stroll around with a Smash Captain, so maybe I'd put it on him. And then just give him hitting on 2s. Because they just have so many guns, so anytime you can put a single buff on it like that is just so good. And it just says chapter unit, it doesn't say infantry or anything like that, so that's handy. And Marksman's Honors. Alright, so the damage of a ranged characteristic you have, including relics, is increased by +1, and you can reroll failed hit and wound rolls for shooting attacks made by your warlord. Really awesome. It doesn't apply to grenades, but there you go. So there is all the warlord traits. You got the points in the back here, and there you go. That is the Space Marine one. You can see the new Vanguard units definitely bolster a purely Primaris army, which is basically what I play. So I'm very excited to replace my scouts with those new snipers. I'm very excited to mess around with those new Vanguard infantry and see how they add to my army. I think they're really going to fill a niche in my army. They're definitely going to be better than the scouts, but I definitely am going to have to see how the points all balance out at the end of the day. So there you go. There's the Vanguard Space Marines. Guys, let's move on to the Chaos stuff. And next up we have the Demonkin Codex. All right, let's just jump in and take a look. Very similar setup to the Space Marine one. Got the intro, some cool artwork, the fluff, and we got different legions. We have the studio paint jobs, what is a data sheet as well, and then you have your updates, your keywords, demonic ritual, and all that stuff. Now, I'm not an avid Chaos player, so comment below if there are major changes. I'm sure people would love to know if there's changes to this stuff. So, and then we have the units. So, Master of Possession, I'm going to be able to tell you what they are, but unlike the Space Marine ones, I will struggle with telling you what the difference might be, if there are any differences. So, I'll just tell you what's here, and then we're good to go. So, this guy is a Demonkin. He's got a 5-up invuln save, which is really cool because Space Marine Librarians don't get invulnerable saves. Sorry, the Primaris ones anyways. Alright, now this guy, he does suffer perils on any doubles instead of just double 1 or double 6. So he's a little more dangerous to keep around. Comes with a 4 stave, and he knows 2 and can deny 1. Alright, and then you have your Chaos Space Marines. Now this is an interesting way to package troops units here. They are power level 9, and this just comes as a built-in unit of 10 with an exact specific loadout, which is the loadout for the ones in the box. So to really know the effectiveness of this unit, you will just have to go and see if they got a points reduction at all. If they got a points reduction, then Bob's your uncle. Have fun. Maybe Chaos Space Marines will really get more involved in the game. But as it stands, they don't have any crazy, kind of unit abilities or anything. They just have Death to the False Emperor, and so seems pretty standard stock Chaos Space Marines with maybe a little less flexibility than what you're used to. So hopefully there's a points reduction in the books for you guys. Greater Possessed or something that is new. Now these guys are really cool. So they deploy as one big unit. So, well, not a big unit, but you can do them in units of 2, but then they split off into their own individual thing. And basically, they buff other Legion Demon units. So your regular Possessed will be +1 strength if these guys are within 6 inches. So that's the buff that's built in for them. Now they have a 5-up invuln save. Their strength, toughness 5, wounds 5, 5 attacks, which is really crazy. They hit on 2s in combat. They move 7. These are really interesting little dudes to have running on the battlefield, especially if you're thinking about putting in some other regular Possessed as well. The Obliterators have changed. They are back to strength toughness 5 instead of 4. They have 4 wounds each, which is really cool. And they have a 2-up save. I think they kept that in 8th edition. I can't remember. And they have flesh metal guns. So now they have their Assault 6 instead of Assault 4, which is really cool. I'm pretty sure they were Assault 4, but correct me if I'm wrong. So anyways, 2 more shots. The strength, damage, and AP is random and still the same, but they also gained these combat attacks, these crushing fists here. So even though they look like massive power fists, they're still only +1 strength, but hey, buff's a buff. So you're hitting at strength 6, AP -1, and D3 damage. The good thing is they're not a power fist, so they're not -1 to hit, which is really nice. They have a 5-up invuln save built in. They still teleport down, and the flesh metal guns just explains how to do the randomization properly. Now the big spider thing, he's called a venom crawler. He's got 2 of these excruciator cannons, eviscerating claws and soul flare tendrils, which are really cool. So the venom crawler hits and wounds on hits in combat and is shooting on 4s. He is strength 6 base, and that's one of the stats that degrades. He moves 10 base, and that stat also degrades. He's got toughness 7, 10 wounds, so he's like a rhino with a 3-up save, leadership 8. So to the excruciator cannons, assault D3, so you're getting 2d3. Strength 8 shots if you're not damaged, minus 2 AP D3 damage is really cool. The claws are just plus 2 strength, so strength 8, minus 3 flat 3 damage. So at range you're doing D3, in combat you're doing 3, which is really cool. Now these soul flare tendrils, they get 2 additional attacks with this weapon each time it fights, and they just hit at strength 6 minus 2 damage. Now this is where the fun part starts. So he regains a wound, and in addition he can eat people for wounds in the fight phase, which is really neat. And just like most demon engines, I think, have this Devourer of Souls, is really cool. And then the Reservoir of Demonic Energy. So they give +1 to any demonic ritual summoning rolls made for the Masters of Possession, which is really fantastic and will come into play later on when we talk about psychic powers. And they also have Soul Shredding Explosion. If this model is reduced to 0 wounds, on a 5+, it explodes and does D3 mortal wounds. All right, so what you get here is just a recap of all your Legion traits, just like the Space Marine book. And now you also have 6 new psychic powers, 6 new warlord traits. And so here we go. So these are all very unique. We have Incursion, warp charge value of 7. You can immediately attempt to summon a unit. So that is super powerful. So you have one guy who can do summoning. I think it's in the movement phase, but now you can also do it again in the psychic phase as if it's the movement phase. And if you do it with this psychic power, you're rolling 4 dice instead of 3, along with the +1 from a venom crawler if he's nearby. So that's really cool. Sacrifice, you can pick a model within 2 inches. He suffers a mortal wound, and then a friendly Legion demon model within 18 regains D3. And so you're kind of sacrificing a dude in order to heal another dude, which is really cool. And if that demon model is a demon engine, the model you chose to inflict the mortal wound on, if it was a friendly Legion Warpsmith, then the demon engine gets 3 wounds automatically. So there you go. Mutated Invigoration, so basically your spawn, your possessed, and your cults of destruction, so your obliterator guys, you get to reroll some of the random stuff. This goes off on a 7. Oh, the sacrifice thing goes off on a 4, by the way, so really easy to get off. Possession here, you're basically your Master of Possession guy. He just hulks out. He is his weapon, it charges on a 5. His weapon goes to AP minus, it gets an additional -2 on its AP. And then if you kill a character, then you basically create a spawn, which is really fun. And he just sets up within 6 and stuff. And if it's, oh yeah, this is cool. If you destroy a vehicle with your Force Stave, your Master of Possession, it automatically explodes, and the Master of Possession does not suffer the mortal wounds from the explosion. Cursed Earth goes off on a 7, and until the start of your next psychic phase, a demon unit, their invulnerable save is improved by 1. Wow, that is nasty. So definitely going to see people taking this for sure. Like those big units of Plague Bearers, boom, they're getting +1 for sure. So you can definitely count on this one being used. And lastly we have Infernal Power. So warp charge value of 6. You can reroll to hit and to wound rolls of 1 for attacks made by friendly Legion demon units. So I bet these two are definitely going to be taken every single game, especially with folks who take huge units of demons, which is a lot of people in competitive stuff like ITC and all that. The rest are kind of just fun, but those you'll see used most often. That's my guess anyway. All right, now some Warlord traits. An Arch Sorcerer, you get 1 additional psychic power. Devourer of Magic, you can attempt to deny 1 additional psychic power, which is pretty cool. and you regain a wound every time you successfully deny one. Just kind of sucking the magic energy out of your enemy's psychers. Reader of Fate, once per battle you can reroll a failed psychic test or deny test, and you also, of course, if your army's Battleforged, roll d6 each time you successfully manifest a psychic power, and on a 6 you regain a command point. So you just gain a command point, not regain. Infernal Gaze, if you successfully manifest Smite, it goes off at 24 inches instead of 18. A Warp Lord, you can reroll rolls of 1 when taking psychic tests for your Warlord. And Demon Bound Power, add 1 to your strength characteristic, and you can reroll damage for attacks you make with your force weapon. So that's handy if you're trying to get off the possession one. So you're higher strength, so you're better at killing those vehicles and stuff to force the explodes to go off. Cool, so pretty simple, got your points in there, and that concludes the new Demonkin book. So that's everything in the box. Let's wrap this up. All right, and there you have it. That is the contents of Shadowspear. I'm very excited about this box as a Primaris Space Marine player myself. I've always wanted to just field a competitive mono-faction all Primaris army, and I was pushing some people around with some of my Primaris builds in the past, but man, this is really going to step it up to the next level. So I'm a big fan of this box. I hope that rules review is helpful so that you know what's in there, and you can get excited about your own Primaris Space Marine armies. Stay tuned for future battle reports in which I will hopefully get these guys painted up quick enough to use them the next time I roll around with my Space Marines on the battlefield. But who knows, it may take me a couple games to really get there, but I think the rules in that box really have what it takes to bring the Primaris to the next level. Chaos players, man, you guys got some wicked cool new models. I hope they really pump up the Black Legion. We'll see what Abaddon does with his rule set and stuff, because his model's coming out soon and he looks hot. Like, that's the model that literally makes me want to buy 2 of these boxes and keep both halves, just so I can start a Chaos army. Because the new basic Chaos Space Marines just look so cool, and so if there's enough buffs kicking around to make them good, I'd think about it, but we'll see what comes out in the future. And for now, I'll stick to these Primaris baddies, the sniper rifles. I'll trade the Chaos stuff to Jay, and it's just a great way to get together with a friend and really boost your forces. So love these new box sets, love trading the halves, love just the community around all that part, love the new rules. But new models are obviously top notch, and so there you guys go. Just wanted to give you a look at it. Got to update my little my wall of artwork, which is fun, and as well, so I love that they're putting these big artwork posters in the boxes. It's just really cool. And guys, I guess that's it. So yeah, cool. Let's wrap this up. If you like this video, guys, would love if you just jump down there, hit subscribe, hit like, click the bell if you want notifications when future content comes out. Also, another way to support us is to get a t-shirt on Spreadshirt. That is in the link below. And lastly, there's Patreon. Patreon supports everything we do here at the channel. For as little as $1 a video, you can support all the stuff we do: terrain tutorials, painting tutorials, battle reports, and lots of other things like this as well. And so guys, go down there. The Patreon link is down below. We just shipped out the perks to all of our $2 patrons. Every year, if you're with us, you get some cool swag. So, and you always, no matter what level you're at, will get discounts to cool hobby stores and stuff. So become a patron of Encounter Wargaming today down there. That's it for today, guys. We will see you at our next encounter.
Like a monkey in a rocket on his way back home. Okay.